Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Drop
Good looking out,
Frames. Yeah, no problem. I got you, Co. Co, what episode are we on? What are we doing?
Today is 5812.
5812. All right. I have actually
I gotta
no.
go back and check and see if those numbers are actually going up
They are.
or they're. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they are.
That one might be going down.
I
There
definitely
was.
know there's multiple times where they have bounced. So,
Yeah. Someone actually clipped all of the intros to the show a while back. It was like 6 minutes long, and I sat there and watched it, and every single one went up. So, except for that one, maybe just now. I'm not sure. I don't keep too close an eye on it, so
that's really impressive because I don't either. So, like, I don't have it written down somewhere. Oh, what's it going to be this week?
Yeah.
You ask for a number and I give you one each week.
I keep waiting for you to hit the 6,000s, but I think you actually are going up because every week it's like 52, 53, 55. You know,
it's good. It's good.
yeah.
I'll take it.
So what's going on? I know that that new Path of Kingfinder, that game is just so badly named.
Kingfinder.
It's just the worst named game, I think, to come out since another PoE, not acronym, abbreviated name, I guess is the way to say that.
They were kind of locked because it's based on a name they didn't come up with. So it's the Pathfinder is the game,
Right.
and then Kingmaker is the dev's vision of what that would look like. The tabletop would look like as a game.
Right.
So apparently they had to put Pathfinder in the title. So
Makes sense. Yeah, for branding purposes, that makes sense. I've got someone to talk Dragon Quest this week because Zeke started that game, so that's exciting.
Zeke, you liking it? You like it, Zeke? You having fun? Hey, Zeke.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh, God. Yeah, so I'm like, Zeke, I'm like 60 hours in that game and still not. I think I maybe just passed like halfway through. Maybe. Potentially.
Yeah, I got well, okay. Here's the thing. In my Steam counter, I guess, it says 36 hours.
Uh-huh.
However, that's a lot of time like
Left open.
not actually like playing the game, like getting up, tabbing on stuff like that while I'm grinding or looking for stuff or whatever. Yeah. But 36 hours is what it says on my Steam. I would say probably give or take 3 hours of that would be not actually playing the game, but definitely a solid 30.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more at length than we have in the past. What else? Indie Sunday stuff. We're kind of in the middle of all games, but there's a little bit of a lapse this week moving into next week, and then Assassin's Creed comes out the end of next week. Trying to think. There's also some other games coming out that are smaller but might have a bigger impact on Twitch in the next couple of days, as well as next week. So it's a good time to be a streamer for sure. Unless you're a Fortnite streamer, because then you can just only play Fortnite. So then you're just stuck doing the old grind. But variety.
Yeah, take that, single game streamers.
Yeah, take that, millionaires. Jeez.
Yeah.
God.
Way more successful than me, people. Take that.
Exactly. We'll do a bit of news here at the start because there's not. I'm just scrolling through a lot. We were actually talking about this before, and I know a lot of people wanted. I'm not sure if the Telltale news hit Friday. When did that actually all start? Do you guys remember? Was that Thursday or Friday? That wasn't before last show, right? I don't think it was.
No, it was shortly afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So all the Telltale news. A lot of people were wanting us to weigh in. I'm not that well read on it, but my understanding is that Telltale decided to fire about 250 employees. They were not given pay or anything when they were fired. They were not, or severance pay when they were fired. I think they have like 9 days of healthcare or something like that. And it's just overall like, hey, it turns out this company was not that poorly or not that well run at the end of the day. And it makes a lot of sense too when you see kind of the deals that they were doing in the short amount of time that they did them, because after like Telltale season 1, they just blew the fuck up, and they were doing a Minecraft game. They were doing like I don't know, a billion different licensed games, and then it comes to light about how long ago was that out? 4 years, 5 years later that they were just terribly mismanaged. So it definitely sucks. I'll let the other guys say what they want. But I think maybe the shittiest part about all of it is that same story probably happens almost every single day in like corporate America. It's a common tale of just awfulness when it really comes down to it. I know there's a lot of other discussions out there about like unionizing and video games and for developers to kind of get into a union, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not that well read. We might get Rami on to talk about something like that in the future. But yeah, it's a shitty situation without a doubt. And those are my quick thoughts on it. Code and Zeke, if you guys want to add to it or jump in on it, feel free. But
pretty much same as you said. I mean, it's another example of money ruining a good thing, and like you said, also bad decisions, kind of compiling and adding up. The thing that really is the most unfortunate about the situation, and not just this situation, but you know, situations like this wherever they happen, in whatever industry they happen, is the amount of notice that the people that didn't make the decision got was just insulting.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, like you mentioned actually in chat, JP, like people were flown out weeks ago to work there, and it's like, and then basically fired. It's just a really, really terrible situation. And the worst part is, you know, it was mismanagement because they have many successful IPs under their belt. I mean, we had Wolf Among Us 2 coming out. We had, you know, there was a couple others that still had existing things like in production. Stranger Things. They actually like got together and were so pissed at the closure that they're now trying to finish the game themselves.
Something like that, yeah.
You know, so it's so unfortunate when a successful working model, because it clearly was working at some point, they just got so greedy and wanted so much more that they spread themselves too thin, and here we are. Yeah. With a lot of unhappy people, a lot of great devs losing their jobs, and yeah, sucks, man.
Yeah,
it really sucks
for sure.
I want to say like I want to say it's shocking. Like, it's shocking because they had so many like successful and good titles. They were far more hit than miss, and when they hit really, really like well.
Yeah,
like I mean, the Walking Dead games are amongst people's like favorite games of all time. The Tales from the Borderlands, all that shit. And I've been a big fan
of the years for sure, like award wise. Yeah,
I've been a big fan of Telltale since I played the first Walking Dead game, but you can't say it's a huge surprise because like this, like you said, this shit happens all the time in corporations where they have one thing or the other, too many irons in the fire, or they're overpaying or overstaffing or whatever, and then the people who know what's like see the graph like, this is our projections, and then we're going to be bankrupt, and they're like, don't tell anybody though. Don't just pretend everything's fine. The ship might right itself, kind of a thing. With the next big thing. And I got like, the thing I'm most heartbroken about is Last of Us, Wolf Among Us 2.
Yeah.
Because I've been a fan of the Fables like graphic novel or comic book series since way back whenever it came out. And when they made that first game, I was super excited and I played it, and it was one of the best video game adaptations of a literary like IP thing that I've literary IP that I've ever played. And I hope someone picks up the Telltale mantle, because those games have a very unique style and there's definitely a place for them.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing that's both, first of all, chat is nailing it, and it is true. And it's important to mention that, unfortunately, even though they have a lot of successful games and good games, very few of them were profitable to the company. And that definitely sucked a lot, especially because some of the ones that are our favorites, like I think even the Borderlands one, if I'm not mistaken, like didn't sell too well. But another thing, and Strippin actually tweeted about this a little bit, and I think it's an interesting point that companies like Telltale have not even tried to address, and that could be one of the reasons they're here, is the fact that when a Telltale game came out, there would be 50 to 100,000 people watching it on Twitch. And most of the people that watch those games would be like, okay, I've seen it, so I don't need to buy it. And that's kind of valid. Like, there's some valid thinking there. I know a lot of people that go to Twitch to watch games because they can't afford or don't want to buy them. So it kind of baffles me that companies like Telltale don't come up with some kind of system or public initiative where they set up a web portal and just be like, hey, here's our game for a quarter of the price. if you enjoyed it by watching someone else, we'd love if you'd give us some money for it. And if you don't, okay, that's cool. That's fine. But I'll tell you right now, I know a lot of people, a lot of good people that watch those beginning to end would have been, and if a streamer at the end of their playthrough said, hey, if you enjoyed this playthrough and you want to support the devs, go check this website out. And, you can actually like help support the product that you just enjoyed watching. If even a fraction of the people that watched it did that, that could recoup thousands of sales. That's like a low fraction if you count into like the 50 to 100,000 people that watched it on Twitch.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, it sounds like a silly idea, but when you're talking about a company being fired and, we don't know how much it could have made, but who knows, man? I mean, it sounds like something would need to change, because Strippin did have a really good point. Like in a game like Telltale's, if you watch the whole thing, it's kind of like the argument of watching a movie and then going and buying it. I mean, it's only if you really like the movie are you going to go and buy it so you can watch it a bunch more times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's a missing puzzle piece.
I think there's definitely like something to be said about, story-driven games and Twitch being kind of at odds with one another. And as kind of the industry continues down the path of streaming and the rise of streaming, et cetera, that's going to be something that eventually I think developers will have to figure out. And I hope they don't just go the route of like, well, you just actually can't stream this game. Like, I hope that never happens.
Imagine if a game was $20, or if you wanted to buy the game with the license to stream it, it was $300.
Right. Hey, it's in their right to do that. I think that they would get a shit ton of bad press if they went down that path, but it's definitely a thing that could happen.
Well, I mean, games like this or like the Telltale games are unique in that the gameplay is not difficult or complicated for the most part. The game itself is the story.
Right.
And it's one of those rare cases where you don't really have to play the game to get the entire story or get the good part of the game, like the soul of the game.
Yeah.
Like if you watch any other game that requires any sort of skill, that's a different thing, because you can look at someone playing it and go, oh, I would probably enjoy this because it would stimulate like the hand-eye coordination of it and all that kind of stuff. Whereas Telltale is like, do you want to choose A, B, or C? And then most streamers, or right. Not most, a lot of streamers would go like, all right, I chose A last time, I'm going to choose B this time. So they go through every single choice.
Totally.
Like show all 5 endings, like the good ending, the bad ending, this ending, that ending. Like they show everything that the game has to offer, because the game doesn't require a ton of skill. Yep. So that's like a complete experience, and you don't even have to press a button. So
yeah,
it's a tough way to like make games in this streaming age.
Totally. I think there's also something to be said to it in this idea of like, I think you can put Walking Dead season 1 in one pile, and then kind of every other game that they made after that in another pile, because it was basically that first season with different IPs applied to it ad nauseum. Just like enter an IP, here's 5 seasons of the same game that you already played with a different story, basically. Then you see someone like Until Dawn go out there and actually like improve on the entire formula and make it unique and blah blah blah. And I think that was kind of the path that I would hope that they would go down, but they never really like got away from their formula. They just kept applying different IPs to it, which I think was their hope to have that sell. Like, oh, let's slap Minecraft on this. People love Minecraft. That's a huge hit. Let's see how that sells. And I don't think those sold that well. So.
Oh, by the way, actually, what I was just looking at is Juiceful Orange in chat just linked a graph of the amount of owners and players of the games.
Oh God.
And dude, I had no idea the last products from Telltale were that much of a failure. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, the most recent Batman game. Like they are.
How did Minecraft do?
I didn't even know Guardians of the Galaxy they made.
I know, right? I was thinking that too.
I haven't even heard of it.
I thought that got canceled.
Yeah. Where's Minecraft at in that list? I'm curious to see how it sold.
It was Juice Orange just linked it again. It's towards the end. Like if you look at the end, it's like especially Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 was like nothing.
Yeah.
Minecraft Story Mode did okay, a little bit worse than Game of Thrones, but better than Walking Dead. What is it, Michonne or whatever you call it?
Yeah, their spinoff.
I'm surprised Tales of the Borderland didn't do better. That game was so good.
It really was.
Tales of the Borderland was incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Maybe it suffers as well, like in correlation to streaming. It suffers because it's episodic, meaning there's only one or like however many handful of hours every time a new episode of the thing comes out. So there's like 5 episodes of Walking Dead, and each one is like 2 to 4 hours long. And like when it comes out, you stream it and you can watch the entire thing. And it usually doesn't make a full stream if you're a full-time streamer. So you like go back and make, different choices just to see the different like dialogue and all that kind of stuff. And you can exhaust every episode immediately when it comes out.
Yeah.
Whereas if it came out all at once, maybe that would be less so because, people will watch it for a little bit and go, oh shit, I want to play this, rather than watch a 2-hour chunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The problem is by the 10th Telltale game, you don't need to watch anything. You know exactly what it's going to be. They didn't innovate at all over like every Telltale game is like the same in that regard. And also that brings up the next interesting point where a lot of times when you watch people on Twitch, it's for like what they're doing, but you can't really do that with Telltale. It's all you're watching is choices. Like that's it. And maybe a few little QTE events, but like that kind of even deadens it even more if you think about it in terms of like, if I buy this game, I'm not even going to be playing it. I'm just going to be making choices I haven't already seen if I've seen it on Twitch. So Telltale will not remember this, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely shitty. I think outside of the whole like the actual games of Telltale, it definitely sucks that like 250 plus people lost their job. It was kind of cool to see the fact that as soon as that happened, you saw pretty much almost like every big video game company out there just like throwing out their job offer page, and like
that was awesome.
It was real cool to see that. But
yeah, I don't know if you like the only one I know particularly by name was Ubisoft.
Yeah,
when they were like, hey, we invite all of you guys to come on over down to dinner, and we're going to see if we have openings for you. And I was just like, man, that's pretty fucking cool.
It is cool. Yeah. Like Ubisoft is doing that. Blizzard,
Microsoft did a thing, DE did a thing. Many indie devs did things, and like it was great because they were tagging like all the Telltale drama with the hashtags, and then just being like, "Here's a list of our open positions. Please apply as soon as you can." And then they just put like a list of spots, and it's like, this is awesome. Like it all of a sudden the kind of the different little sections of the gaming community kind of all opened up, and they all were just like there to help these guys that got in this really shitty situation. That was good to see. That was cool.
Yeah, and it's like too. People in chat like read it as well. Yeah, people in chat have just been naming off companies that have like come to like say, hey, maybe we got a spot for you. It's amazing. It warms the heart. It warms the gamer heart to think that like maybe we are all in this together and we're not like really like cutthroat competition shit like that,
Yeah. It's definitely
It's funny how we actually are talking exactly about cutthroat competition because all these companies are like, look at all these really good people that need jobs are out there. Come check us out first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. I didn't even think about it like that.
It's a good problem to have, but yeah,
exactly.
It came after, I think, like a week before Capcom Vancouver closed, which are the Dead Rising devs. So they just like shut that studio down a week prior, and yeah, it's definitely a harsh business to work in.
Same thing like BioWare after Anthem releases.
Yeah. It's rough. It's definitely scary.
What? Hold on. What now? BioWare, I didn't catch it. BioWare shutting down after Anthem? No. You're fucking okay.
I'm kidding.
Oh, you fucking goddamn. Like, how did I miss this? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I think there's definitely a point, though, even though Ko is being sarcastic. If a game does not do well, it's very easy to see that, and it's very easy to see when the layoffs happen, the reason why. So it's kind of a unique thing in the game industry for sure. But
yeah, in full disclosure, I want nothing but BioWare. I want nothing but for them to succeed. I want Anthem to be the biggest hit ever, and I want it to crush and bring back the BioWare that we all knew and loved from a decade ago. I just don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a lofty goal.
Do you have like why do you think that? I want to know like why you think that about Anthem.
Well, primarily because everything we're seeing from Anthem makes it look like a generic Destiny competitor. It's not. It doesn't have the soul of what made BioWare special. And the more news we get about it, the more questions I see Mark answer on Twitter, the more it just looks more and more and more like a generic multiplayer online shooter. Like it's hard to say. Like it's hard to say any more than that. It's just like BioWare had a real good idea about making things special back when they had their own, when they were in control of themselves. But now they're not under control of themselves. They're under control of a company going, we want you to make this specific thing. So it's a completely different situation than the BioWare from back in the day. I mean, you even look at the classes. It's like Destiny. Like it's oh man. I hope it's good, and I hope I'm just worried about it, and I hope it turns out to be great and that it's a success. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's not going to be free to play, is it?
Nope. I don't. $60 game.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just stick to Warframe then.
Yeah.
Because that's free, right?
As people are saying in chat, it's EA's answer to Destiny. Destiny is a very successful game with a very core community. Think what you want about it, but that's the truth. And other companies want their own version. They want versions of a game that has a tight core that will always buy the product, regardless if it's good or bad, like Destiny, and that core will support the IP so that those studios can then do other things that make money on top of it, and they can have this kind of slow update process go on through in the background. But again, they're putting a lot of eggs in BioWare's basket, not EA's basket, but BioWare's basket with Anthem. And the problem is BioWare is going to be the one that suffers if EA's decision is bad, not EA. So
yeah,
they wipe themselves with $100 bills. They don't care if they lose a few mil. You know, they've got a scapegoat. So
yeah, it's a little scary. That comes out in February, right? I think that launches the beginning of next year.
And I think there's like an early or a beta or something. People were talking about playing Anthem. There was like a box list thing. For Anthem.
I would assume they're going to have a beta or something like that.
Feb 22.
Yeah, Feb 22. There you go. So we'll see.
Man, it looks so good though.
It does. It looks beautiful. The world looks fun. The flying looks incredible. The only issue is going to be when you've been doing that for 10 hours.
Right.
And when you've done all the content once. And when you realize that the customization is like one basic skeletal skill tree that doesn't really give that much customization. Like that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the game looking pretty or playing well. I'm worried about it not looking good or playing well. Or well, looking good always will. But I'm worried about that 20-hour mark, the 30-hour mark, the 40-hour mark. Is there even enough to do in the game for 40 hours? You know, like and then you start talking about games like Warframe, and it's just like, you know, you just kind of got to roll your eyes at those numbers. But yeah, that's the big thing is depth. That's what I think most people are concerned about with Anthem. Depth. Because EA wants a generalized shooter, which means the simpler, the better. The less depth, the better. So, and they're putting a company that's known for depth at the head of it. It's just a weird situation.
That's why I would make a shitty game developer, because I'd look at it and go like, this looks really great. You guys did a really good job. And then it's like, you play for an hour. It's like, that's the end of the game. I didn't think about that. That's why you're the man. Like you pointed that out. Good job.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We will see. I think everyone hopes it's good. But...
Telltale, Anthem. I need beer. This is depressing.
That'll happen. Video games. Depressing.
Do you think someone's gonna pick up the Telltale mantle, like, and make Telltale games? Because I'm pretty sure there's a market for it. You just don't fucking overextend, I think.
Well, I think people are. I think like the Until Dawn devs are trying that. They've got that. They've got I think it's episodic coming out. It's like a underwater horror type game that I forget the name of. But they're working on some other stuff. And then you got Life is Strange. That comes out this week. Life is Strange 2 comes out this week. So that they're pushing forward with that. Episode 1, yeah, not the full episode. But
episodic.
Yeah. I mean, here's how big the impact of Telltale was. They made episodic games a thing, and they made them work in this industry, right? Like, it was very rare before them to have an episodic game do well, or rather, I guess, be big is another way to phrase that. Do well is kind of a weird statement, but yeah.
And chat is actually bringing up a really good point. Not only have some companies already kind of used the Telltale method, but some companies are innovating on the Telltale method. So they're basically doing what Telltale should have done over the last years. Instead of just regurgitating the same thing over and over, we have games like The Council, which are very similar to Telltale games, but have a lot more depth to them. Like in terms of speccing your character for options and exploring the game world and being rewarded for looking around and behind corners and stuff. Like that's a huge step forward. Really wish we would have seen Telltale make those kind of decisions, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, but also, it's good that stuff's still around.
And also Big Bad Wolf is the name of the people who did Council.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about the Council.
But they're hooked up with a huge name. Focus Home Interactive is their publisher. So they might be I think that's how it's going to have to work in the future is like small team of developers got to get a big publisher.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I hope that we definitely have like a story, 3 to 4 years now of X Telltale devs went on to create the game of the year, blah, 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 like that type of stuff. Because I can definitely see, usually when this stuff happens, the upswing sometimes is that, some of those devs go on to form a small indie company, and that small indie company makes something really fucking cool. And so that's
2 Point Studios, man.
Yeah. So I hope we see something along those lines, but
hopefully it's not quite as long as that though.
Hey, did you hear the Wolf Among Us 2 season 2 came out? Oh, that's awesome. Let me grab my walker. We'll get started.
Yeah, true. I bet you we see in the next year or year and a half, we'll see a Kickstarter from, former Telltale devs go live, and they're going to be pushing a new game, and hopefully it's good. But
maybe a few.
Yeah, hopefully there's more than one. That'd be cool for sure.
I'll throw money at all of them.
Yep.
Bring us more quality games.
Yep. There was, I think, the latest news in terms of like the drama, I guess, of the whole Telltale firings was that Telltale was hit with a class action lawsuit for breaking labor laws. That was that was yesterday, if not Monday. So we'll see this play out over the next couple of weeks and months and potentially years, but
potentially years.
Yeah, definitely sucks for all that stuff. What else is going on? We finally got numbers. So Spiderman sold 3.3 million copies in the first week. Is that the time frame for this? I think it did very well. Is the short of it. I just want to get the time frame correct.
Very well. Did it break a goal or a? Did it break a goal?
So 3.3 million copies in the first 3 days of its release month. So it wasn't even a week. It was first 3 days, which was the
records. I forget that word.
What was that?
I forgot the word records. Didn't it break some records for the sales?
It broke the Spider-Man film, Spider-Man Homecoming opening weekend, which was 117 million. So that's kind of cool. And I think it's the highest or the fastest selling PS4 exclusive of all time, I think was some of the news that was kind of tied to that. So it's doing well. The Marvel fanboy in me is like, yes, dude, keep making more. Let's get an Iron Man game. Black Panther. Let's get all the superheroes into one gaming franchise. And then you just make that Avengers game. It'll be great. I hope they do something like that. Right? Right? I think Square Enix is working on an Avengers game of some sorts, although we have no idea what the fuck that is. So,
and don't make it a fucking fighting game, please.
Right. Yeah, we've had enough Marvel vs. Capcoms. All right, we've had 3 of them.
Yeah.
Let's not. We've gone down that path. Give me something else. What else? Oh, have you? Some of this Red Dead Redemption 2 news coming out has been kind of nutty. They showed the game off to a bunch of journalists the past week or two. The latest bit of news is that it's going to have around, quote, 200 species of animals within the game. So I don't know if that's like, here's a red-tailed hawk and here's a yellow-tailed hawk, or
animal skin.
Yeah, like I don't know what that actually means. That game's they're it's some of the stuff that they're talking about in terms of like how crazy the detail is pretty crazy. I linked or tweeted a link to a post that had like, I think Code, you saw this as well, had like 100 different things that were like unique to the game.
Yeah, dude. Good God.
Yeah, I wish I could pull some of that stuff up because they're going like real crazy with the details. Let me try to find that tweet because it's worth reading off a couple of the 100 or so things. But hype meter wise, are you guys excited for it all? It comes out during TwitchCon, so that's kind of a hype deflation, I think, for a lot of people attending TwitchCon, streamer wise. But for you two, like, are you getting hyped about it? Are you getting excited about the game, or are you just kind of meh?
Red Dead?
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, I guess I have to play the first one. Or give the first one another chance because I tried it and I've said this before, like it didn't like grab me. Like the Texas Hold'em was fun in the game, like playing poker was fun, but as far as like the story goes, it just maybe I didn't give it enough time. Like I will admit that maybe I didn't give it enough time, but I gave it like I want to say a good 8 hours, and I was just like didn't pull me in. And I didn't like, because people were saying, you didn't even get to Mexico. That's the best part. It's like, should it take that long to get to the good stuff?
Yeah, that's true. For whatever reason, the Reddit comment was deleted. So I can't actually pull up the 100 or so things, but it was from
concerning because it may mean that some of that was wrong.
Yeah, maybe. Although I think he pulled everything that was in that video from the video itself, which was the Easy Allies hands-on preview that was like 48 minutes long of the game. So I would just go watch that if you're at all curious about the Red Dead Redemption 2 hands-on preview that was going around. I think Danny O'Dwyer also put a video out last night, I think is when that went live. So there's a bunch of news on it. Hope it's good. But yeah, I think streamer-wise, it kind of sucks because it comes out the day of TwitchCon beginning. So that definitely sucks. The week after, I guess everyone will be playing that when they get back. For those in attendance. Any other news real quick? I don't think so. It's been kind of a little bit slow. Oh, they finally got... apparently they finally got crossplay launching on PS4 for Fortnite after that whole fucking debacle earlier this year, so...
Great PR, Sony.
Yeah, right. It's kind of funny. I think that's it.
I just love it when a company is forced to backpedal on shit. I just love it. They're like, no, we're not gonna do crossplay. Fuck that. We don't need to do that. And everybody's like, boo, boo, terrible idea. Like, whoa, hey, whoa. Did we say never?
Yeah.
We didn't say never. How about now?
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyways, that's the news, at least the news that we care about this week. No. Uh-oh. Maybe some more bad news with Ko's comment. What's going on?
According to a new interview conducted by GameSpot at the Tokyo Game Show, the game will allow you to buy upgrade orbs with real money in order to upgrade the 3 playable characters quicker than if you were playing normally.
Wait, for what game?
Devil May Cry 5.
Oh. Yeah, Capcom.
Yeah, for the record, that's what killed the Deus Ex franchise. And I don't mean killed it. I mean, like, they stopped the production of the next game because people hated it so much.
Yeah.
They returned, refunded, and didn't buy Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Yeah, Zeke, I think you bought some stuff.
Done that. I still haven't done that yet. Like, I still haven't. I told people that I would buy Deus Ex and just buy everything and upgrade my character, like, with as much upgrades as I could possibly purchase, and then just run through the game as fast as possible.
Yeah, for the record, they know that this was in DMC 4 as well, but they've confirmed it for 5. It looks like is the issue.
Huh. Well, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3 news, by the way, that came out of that.
Hopefully, though, if the Devil May Cry community is already used to it from 4, hopefully it's not a big deal. But yeah, there was like a petition to not buy Mankind. Like it completely, Square Enix totally ruined the Deus Ex franchise with that.
Huh.
So looks like it's not gonna be that bad with DMC, which is good.
Yeah, we shall see.
Oh yeah, I agree. No, Deus Ex Mankind was awesome. They had DLC rolled out. They had another game planned, and they just like stopped and they put the dev on another game, and they just there's no plans to continue Deus Ex right now.
It'll come back eventually.
Hopefully,
in a couple years.
Was there anything else cool announced at the Tokyo Game Show?
Or there was some Sekiro. The Shadows Die Twice. There was some gameplay that came out of that. That game looks cool. Obviously, it's a From Software game. There was, I'm actually going to show this because I thought it was very. I hope I can find the
Death Stranding trailer.
Oh, that's right. We can talk about that. Yeah. Talk about that while I find this trailer real quick.
You guys saw the introduction from Matt Mercer, right?
What was that? Oh, you mean Troy Baker? Was that Troy Baker?
Oh, I'm sorry. Troy Baker. Yes, not Matt Mercer. Jeez. God.
How dare you, Carnage? How dare you?
They're both ear sex, so you can help, like, you can see why I'd mess them up. But anyway.
Both actually really attractive dudes. Like, seriously, I've met both of them, I've only met Troy, but I've seen both of them, and they're pretty good looking guys, I gotta say.
That trailer didn't do anything I'm not more or less excited about that trailer or about that game after seeing that trailer. I'm gonna try to find it real quick, but
which trailer are you guys talking about?
The one where it had Troy Baker in it.
That didn't make you more excited for it?
No, it was just, what the fuck is this game? That's still the question that came out of my mind.
That made me significantly more excited. It looks like there's a cool looking antagonist. I'm all about that. B, it looks like that's probably one of the bosses. That's a boss fight. We just saw one of the boss fights in the game. So, and the boss fight looked awesome. I'm all about anus mouth. And the animation looked good. The summon looked good. Obviously, the Troy Baker character has some kind of control over the world, which is interesting. Like, this did more for me than the E3 stuff.
Well, the E3 stuff was just walking around to like moody music. Right, yeah. I mean, I'll agree with you there. But I look at this and I'm still like, I read it. There was an article that came out, I think, after this, or maybe alongside this, that was just like, oh my God, Hideo Kojima is such a video game auteur, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, stop fucking sucking. Like, just for 1 second. We don't know if this game's good. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yes, come over to my side. Come over to my side.
Like, I want everything in the world for this game to be fucking amazing. But from the 40 plus minutes of footage we've seen, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea, except that it looks pretty. It looks pretty.
Yeah, not a lot of gameplay for sure, and that's kind of like Ko was saying before. Like, that's where it hinges. Does it have like depth? Like, it looks pretty, it looks weird.
Yeah,
it's very intriguing, but so is a turd with a birthday hat on. Like, it's intriguing.
Look, it could also be said that. It could also be said that, that's Kojima, right? Like, you won't know until you're actually playing the game what the fuck that game is. If we didn't know what Metal Gear Solid is, like, if you go back and watch those trailers and you didn't tie what the idea of Metal Gear Solid is in the gameplay of past games, it'd probably be just the same. It'd probably be just as fucking weird. In fact, he did that with Metal Gear Solid 5, where he called it a different game, and it wasn't even a Kojima project. It was like the guy that was wearing the bandages or whatever.
The best part they didn't show, though, is the boss fight is a series of very easy QTEs followed by an escort quest. And that goes into a choose your own dialogue story tree.
Yeah.
That you answer through, and then the game's over.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I hope the game's good.
And then when you play it and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? Or what the fuck did I just play? There's gonna be fucking idiots everywhere going like, you just didn't understand it.
You just didn't get the game, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You
didn't like it because you didn't get it.
It's a very deep game about life and love and living in FedEx. It's going to be good.
The symbolism was just over your head.
Delivery men are real people, okay?
Kojima.
All right? Delivery men are real people.
What was that called?
What
did you say, Ko?
I said you have to channel your inner Kojima. You have to let him come forth through you.
Yeah.
Let him inhabit your body, and then you can enjoy his product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else is just uncivilized.
Yeah. Here's what we should do. We should go back and revisit this video when that game actually ships, and we were all sitting there like, God, Kojima is just the best fucking video game director of all time. This game is amazing. So good. And then just intersplice everything we just said into that video as well. It'd be good.
I hope it turns out to be the best game we've all ever played.
Yeah.
I really do. It's gonna be incredible. Like I hope it's just amazing.
Yep. I agree.
Blows us all away. I will say this. Kojima had a huge amount of hype after MGS. A lot of people really loved it. And now this is his next big project. If he hits a home run with this project, he is going to be like arguably on a pillar no one can touch. You know what I mean? Like if he goes from the MGS hype immediately into a successful hype of his own game. Oh my Lord, dude. This we could be witnessing the ascension of a gaming god potentially. Or the fall of one. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
We'll see. Here's some of that Sekiro Shadows Die Twice gameplay. Now, I think it's...
I haven't seen this.
There's a particular move that he does, and I think he's about to do it. I have seen that animation in Bloodborne. Or I'm crazy, but that looked exactly like an animation in Bloodborne. And I can't shake when I look at this character moving around.
Can you replay it again?
Yeah.
Even that
like puts his hand back and the weapon locks and then he puts it forward. Isn't that little locking scythe hand weapon thing? Is that the one you're talking about that does that?
Yeah. That he's got like
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wow.
That said, the game looks fucking cool and I can't wait to play it, but that animation looks very, very funny to me.
It's not by the same. It's not by the same company, is it?
It's from Software. Yeah, it's the exact same company.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and it's it's not a PS4 exclusive this time because this is coming out on PC, so you'll be able to play this on PC. But man, that looks so similar. About that. That looks so similar. They showed a boss fight. The video is like 12 minutes long. We're not going to watch all of it, but
for the record, chat, I'm on a Sekiro blackout. Like I anytime I see information about this game, I try to avoid it. Like I said, I've never even seen this. Like when I mean blackout, I mean blackout. I don't know who makes it. I don't know what's going on. Like I saw what I saw at E3. That's all I needed to see, and I'm not even looking at it anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
don't spoil it for me, guys. I don't need to know who makes it. I'll figure that out when I play it.
For some people, all they got to see is from Software. Then they're good. They're just gonna play it without a doubt.
Well, I mean, when you're the best player in the game, you can. It's a solid bet that From Software, whatever they make, is going to be pretty goddamn good.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't want to say worried. I'm skeptical. Maybe. I don't think it's going to be bad, but like the way that the game works in terms of how your HP is and how you deal damage to bosses and stuff like that is unique. It's not just an HP bar that goes down. It's that bar at the top of the screen that fills up, and then you do like a finishing move, and then those red dots in the top left-hand corner tick down on each finishing move or something like that. So it's a little interesting. Bless you. I saw you prep for the sneeze. That was very good. You even did the whole like.
It snuck up on me a little bit there. I had more time.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays. It looks fucking cool. Like this boss fight looks fucking awesome, without a doubt. It looks unique. It looks like there's multiple stages, etc. But I'm just a little. I don't know. We'll see how this stuff actually handles.
Now, JP, were you the one that was crowing about? I wish they would have a new just World of Warcraft like classic.
No.
That's you just wanted another Warcraft.
Warcraft. Are you talking about the RTS?
I think so. Yeah. Was that what you wanted? Or was it?
I mean, I'll take a Warcraft 4. Yeah. I'm not sure what you're referencing though. When did I say this?
No, because everybody's in chat like linking this tweet that World of Warcraft Classic is coming to BlizzCon.
Oh. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, they announced it at BlizzCon last year, so it makes sense that it would show up again. Yeah. I hope
so. It's not news then?
Well, it's news that I guess they're confirming they're going to talk about it at this year's BlizzCon. But I felt like that was understood, but I guess maybe it wasn't.
JP, as somebody who is now done with Warcraft? What are you doing with Warcraft right now?
Yeah, I haven't touched it. We did the raid and then I logged out. Mostly because it came into the same situation. Like, it's really hard to play games for a living and play World of Warcraft at the same time because that game quickly replaces your life and will become the only game you play. So yeah, I've moved on. But WoW Classic could be a whole nother thing for sure.
That's what I was wondering. Like, as somebody who's moved on from current WoW, at least for now, until the next expansion, are you still like really hyped for vanilla?
Oh yeah. Vanilla's definitely like a different beast for sure. Um, I I wouldn't say that it's hype. I'm more like replace hype with the word, I don't know. Just curious about how the fuck it's gonna work, right? Because like they're taking a game that came out in 2005 and making it work after however long that game's existed in today's day and age, and I like that's a hard thing, man. If they don't get that just right, they're gonna see like, I don't know. The Reddit the past month about BFA launch and all this shit has already been a shit show. If they fuck up WoW Classic, like, it's gonna be a big deal, and I don't think that there's any way to please everyone with it unless they just literally put out like the beginning of World of Warcraft without very many changes. And even then, people are going to still find something to bitch about because it's the internet. But it's
it's going to have like all the updated graphics and stuff over the years, yeah.
You would think, yeah, I would think so, for sure. We'll see. I don't know. They got to. I hope that. I don't know. I'm just curious to see like where they start. Like, what patch do you even begin with? They've talked about the fact that they kind of started with a certain baseline, but it really depends where they go from there.
Another really interesting thing is a lot of times in MMOs, because they're in constant development, a lot of times patches over the years will fix fundamental imbalances or flaws.
Right.
Which means that they're going to have to go back and decide what unbalanced things do we want in this game. Like things like they're going to be actively putting things in that they know were changed or fixed later. It's kind of interesting because like I recently, like I played EverQuest and they did progression servers.
Right.
And funny enough, that's a much smaller community, as I'm sure you know, by a factor of thousands. But even in that community, there was like a huge amount of like, because when they did the progression servers, they moved the world and everything back, but they kept the new UI updates. They kept a lot of the fact that you can like full screen it and stuff, like all these little quality of life things they moved back. And that totally killed it for some people. So, oh man, it is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting.
I mean, if you think back on like the early days of WoW, like you had like Wind Fury totems for shamans making warriors fucking gods. You had AP Pompyro with double trinkets making mages just like blow up bots. You had druids running fucking flags in Warsong Gulch and being like unstoppable. Granted, that hasn't changed too much, but you've got like iron grenades stunning, and so every motherfucker had a stack of like 100+ iron grenades so that they can get a 2-second stun on like it. We'll really just see where the fuck they do with it. Like it's such a weird thing. Yeah, like faction restricted classes, right? Like paladins only existed for Alliance and shamans only existed for Horde for many years. So
and weren't there like major raid issues at the beginning because of that?
Yeah, like it's hard to balance around that stuff without a doubt. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm so curious.
I like when you say a lot of this stuff in chat is like, as it should be.
Right. Right. That's like
Paladin
chat
should never be on the evil side.
It's chat going back 10 years and being like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. And then not actually thinking, well, maybe it wasn't. So maybe there's a reason that all that kind of changed. I don't know. I'm just so curious. There's so many things about like how Blizzard's going to handle that, how the community's going to handle that, because like what if like a quintessential thing about the vanilla WoW experience is left out and the community just fucking goes ape shit as they do, right? Like you're talking about a community that lost their fucking shit over a cutscene about a goddamn fictional tree being burned that had zero emphasis on gameplay whatsoever. And there were like multiple thousands of people just fucking losing their goddamn shit. So
lots of people get very, very angry about what happens in their fictional stories. Okay,
right? Exactly. Now apply
look
that
at
to
religion.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Now apply that to a game that they grew up loving and is considered by many of those same people that it's their favorite game of all time. So
that was brutal, Cole. I loved it.
I would not want to be Blizzard.
Dude, it's the same shit. Like, okay, just saying, when it comes down to it, it's the same thing. Like, I saw a tweet on someone who was giving a cosplayer shit because they didn't have the skin color of the person they were cosplaying.
Jesus Christ.
It's kind of like, oh, that's funny, because here in the United States, Christians role play Jesus was white all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone seems cool with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm
Christian. I guess I like to make fun of myself.
So the news from that whole WoW thing is that you can actually play it with a virtual pass or whatever. That's like
the thing. I'm diving into the tweet now. Is that you can play World of Warcraft Classic, the BlizzCon demo, at home without going, I guess is the thing, if you buy the virtual pass. What that actually means, like, am I gonna run around fucking Mulgore as a dumbass Tauren druid casting Wrath? Like, is that the demo that, because like I've played the full version of that. I don't need a demo of that. Or are they gonna put me in a 7-day AV where I'm walking around with the fucking I can't even remember the two-handed hammer that came from that stunned, but like what is that demo? I don't know, man. It's fucking weird.
I love seeing you trying to think about all this, because every time you think of one thing, you can tell 3 other things pop up, and then you pick one of those, and then when you start thinking about that, 3 new things pop up.
It's fucking weird, man. Here's one thing that it will do. The WoW streamers of Twitch will go fucking ape shit, and the WoW viewers will go fucking crazy during all of this, and it'll give Blizzard a shit ton of press and income BlizzCon weekend, because people will buy that virtual pass to see what the whole thing is about, to play from home. So smart move from Blizzard, without a doubt. That's a great way to make revenue.
It was a great decision.
I just want to.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's up, Zeke?
I just want to circle back on something, because there was some confusion earlier. Did you not recently, like within the past year or whatever, go back and play Warcraft 3 or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, I did. Yeah.
You did. Okay. So during that time, you said you wanted like a sequel to that, like Warcraft 4 or something like that. Did you not?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like something I would say.
God, I must have overestimated like how hyped you were, because I remember you being like, God, when am I going to get this or something like that. But
well, there's definitely been like hype on the internet of people like clamoring for Warcraft 4, especially because everyone thinks they're going to announce something along those lines for the past, I don't know, 20 years. So like people have been wanting Warcraft to continue, but it's very unlikely that it's going to happen, because you have World of Warcraft, and you can't continue that story in an RTS without continuing the story in World of Warcraft. So it's like, how does Blizzard even tackle that? I don't even begin to know.
I didn't even think that they had a story. I forgot, like there is an actual like story in the Warcraft games.
Yeah.
I forgot, like, 'cause I think I played 2 and like a little bit of 2 and a lot of 3. And I forget that there's actual, like, a running theme through the story through the whole thing.
Yeah. And I think the easy comparison is you look at like Elder Scrolls Online, and Elder Scrolls, like the Elder Scrolls, the main game, the main online game, Skyrim, whatever. And I think they have it easier than World of Warcraft, because you can just go to a different part of the world in the Elder Scrolls and push that. In World of Warcraft, you can't really do that, right? Like it's different, I think. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see Warcraft 4.
Well, easy solution to this. Easy solution to Warcraft 4 prequel.
Yeah. Well,
just put it before everything in the timeline.
Yeah, just make the movie, but the game. Just call it Warcraft the movie, the game.
Put it before the movie.
Yeah,
I never watched the movie. Does the movie start with the beginning of the universe? Then you can put it before, right?
Yeah, I mean they've gone cosmic in that game, and like you visited other planets and shit in WoW, so they can do a lot of shit. They can do a lot of shit for sure. I'm trying to think if there's anything else from what's it called, TGS. There was a bunch of Kingdom Hearts news, but I haven't watched any of the trailers because they're very spoiler apparently. So I don't even want to like read chat at all. Like that's the one game that I care about the story for. I watched the trailer for 30 seconds, and in that 30 seconds, they spoiled a bunch of shit in a game, the final game that I haven't played yet, in Dream Drop Distance. So I'm on blackout.
That happens so often with well, hold on. Before I stick my fucking foot in my mouth. Kingdom Hearts is a Japanese developed game, right?
Yes. Square Enix.
Okay. That happens so often in my experience with Japanese developed games. In the fucking trailer scenes, they spoil tons of shit. They do that in Yakuza. They do that in Dragon Quest. Like, dude, so much gets spoiled just from watching the fucking preview.
Yeah, dude, in Yakuza, like the two, what we did with Yakuza Kiwami 2 and Kiwami is we skipped the intros, beat the game, and then it's a thing. When you finish the game, then you watch the intro. And dude, in the intro of Yakuza games, they show the final fight sometimes. Like they show the guy fighting somebody that starts as a good guy in the game. And you're sitting here watching the trailer and you're just like, why are they fighting? Like, I don't, it's terrible how much they spoil it. Yeah. At one point, they show a main character getting killed in the trailer. That character doesn't get killed until 3/4 through the game. It's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, it's just it's a cultural difference. I'm guessing. Like there are, like picture two countries. One country is like, I read books from start to finish, and then the other country goes, I read the last 2 pages. And then I start at the beginning again. Like there are people who do that consistently with books. They're like, I want to see if I'm going to like the ending. Okay, now I'm going to go back.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is like the US movie business, like trailers are stupid. They have a trailer for the trailer in movie trailers now. Like most movie trailers start out and it's like, here's 5 seconds of the fucking Incredible Hulk. And then the trailer begins, right? So it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But I'm the Kingdom Hearts is a pretty good game. You guys should play it. That's all I'll say.
I was going to in October, but then Kingmaker happened. So
yeah, when are you jumping into that, Co? Because here's what's going to happen: you're going to play Kingdom Hearts 1, and then you have another 100+ hours to play before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. Because you're going to play all the games. So you just need to pace yourself. Because I know you. All right, I know what's going to happen. Luckily, there's not that many games out in November and December, so you're going to be fine. You're going to do great. It's going to be great.
Okay. We'll see how that goes.
I'm so curious to see if you like that game or not. I
have like 3 major girthy games that I'm working through right now. I'm hoping I'll be able to get them done before TwitchCon, but man, it's Oh, and then we have the games coming out early next month too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
I really gotta take a page out of your book, Co, as far as streaming goes. Like I have to start like, especially when the pipeline of games gets so clogged with good long games. Just do like 4 hours of this game and then 4 hours of this game and just keep going and try and get through as much as you can before the next, big fucking thing comes out.
Yep.
It's dude, especially the last month has been just catch up, constant catch up. And I'm still in constant catch up. I really wanted to finish Bard's Tale 4 before Pathfinder. That didn't work out. So now we've got a 100-hour Pathfinder Kingmaker adventure that I restarted this morning because that's something I have time to do. Yeah. And then I have like another 20 hours in Bard's Tale 4. And then tomorrow I start Fist of the North Star, which apparently is incredible. And has like 50 to 100 hours. I mean, dude, Fist of the North Star is car racing, club owning, like all the mini games from Yakuza, apparently just bigger. Right. There's like even a buggy racing thing where you spec out a car and you like build tracks and stuff. I don't even want to think about it. There's going to be so much to do.
Nice.
But yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just trying to finish Dragon Quest 11 this weekend, but I got like 50+ hours to go. So don't Huh?
You have 50 hours to go?
Probably, yeah.
And how much do you have in it?
Like 45. I think it's maybe less than that. It depends on it depends on if I do a lot of post game stuff, because there's the ending apparently in that game, and then there's like the real ending or some shit after post game, and that's like an additional 40 hours at the end. So we will see. We will see. I think that's it for news. Let's talk Kingmaker. We've danced around it a lot. We danced around Dragon Quest. We'll do Kingmaker now. We'll take a break, and then me and Zeke will dive into some Dragon Quest. So, Code, tell me about this game.
Okay. Pathfinder Kingmaker is a traditional CRPG wrapped around the Pathfinder rule set. It has so far been incredibly entertaining. The character customization alone took me more than an hour. It is one of the most in-depth RPG experiences I've ever encountered. There are various difficulties, going from like normal and then easy, and then there's challenging, and then there's hard, and then there's unfair, which is the actual name of a difficulty level. And you can customize all those. So me and my RPG goodness decided, hey, I'm going to start the game on hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I played yesterday. I started as a sorcerer, and I played the game for 4 hours and made about 30 minutes of progress.
Really?
Here's where this game gets a little bit interesting. Now, before I say this, I want people to understand this game is incredible. And if you play this game on like normal difficulty or maybe even challenging, I'm sure it would be a fun, relatively difficult experience. However, I am playing on hard. And for those that play D&D or understand how the system works, here's where it gets interesting. So the Pathfinder game was balanced by the devs that made the Pathfinder board game, like the IP, the actual role-playing game.
Yep.
And that entire world was balanced around what you mean. What's that?
Board game or tabletop?
Tabletop.
There's it's like a tabletop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Pathfinder.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And then the devs Owlcat game, they then took that, which is all the Pathfinder board game doesn't have difficulty. It's all balanced around itself. And it's balanced pretty well from what I understand. So then Owlcat, the devs of this game, Kingmaker, they took all of that, made a very awesome game out of it, but then they added in difficulty levels. And the problem is that the way that they added difficulty was by adding raw stats to the enemies, just in the context of normal difficulty. So what happens is when you come up to an encounter that's already balanced, challenging gives the enemy 2 AC, 2 to their hit value, and it just adds raw stats. Hard raises that up to +4. And for anyone that plays D&D or tabletop, that's a scary number to start going against at the very beginning of a game.
Yeah.
So what happens is you walk into these encounters and every single fight is a boss fight. Every single enemy can crit you in one shot for over your max life at any time. Every time you swing to an enemy, you're going up against like -9 modifiers, and you have to get over 15 to hit kind of stuff. Like it is what would be crits are normal hits. Basically what happened is yesterday when I started the game, I started as a sorc. It took me about 2 hours to get up to this place called the Bandit Camp. And then that fight I tried for 2 hours before I had to go. And then off stream, I kept trying the fight. And an hour later, I beat it. Just happened to beat it due to massive RNG. And I was so frustrated at that point that when I started this stream again this morning, I re-rolled completely because I wanted a different character. Because what I wanted to do with my sorcerer, I later learned isn't going to really work out. So now I'm doing a master tactician inquisitor. And it's been going a lot better. In fact, in the 4 hours I played today, I made it significantly past where I did yesterday in shorter amount of time. So that's good. But I gotta say, man, like I gotta warn people that play this game. In one of the first times in a long time, challenging is challenging. And hard is like, it's hard.
Yeah.
The unfair difficulty, from what I understand, actually lives up to its name. It is unfair. Like there are times where the game will be unwinnable, no matter how good you are at it, on unfair difficulty. And I run into that all the time on hard difficulty. There are times when I will start a fight, and if there are ranged fighters, They will just one-shot crit 3 of my guys in the first 3 seconds. And I'm talking about before I can even cast spells. Like there's nothing I can do. Nothing different can be done. I'm just dead.
Nice.
However, sometimes I get lucky and those 3 people miss. And then maybe my barb crits the next time. And then maybe my other guy gets a good crit and boom, I've won the fight. So it's the beginning at least. And keep in mind, I'm only, technically an hour or 2 in. The difficulty at the beginning is super RNG because of the stats. Now I'm hoping as the game gets right before we started drop frames today, I finally got my actual first tank. I haven't been using a tank yet. I have a barbarian and a cleric, so I've been doing this weird hybrid tanking thing.
Yeah.
But so I'm hoping it gets a little bit better. But I gotta warn people, if you're gonna play this game on hard, this is one of the hardest CRPGs I have ever played in my life. It is brutal. I had to make a command explaining to people that I'm going to be dying so much because I had so many people in my chat going, "Why is he dying all the time? This is so confusing. Why isn't he winning? Why isn't he good?" And it's just read the heart. My characters are literally babies with swords going up against trained soldiers. And I just have to hope that the baby waves the sword around and hits the guy in the eye by accident for me to have a chance.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what I am. Maybe when I pull my pacifier out, it might hit their knee and the knee explode or something. It's terrible. The RNG you need right now is just. But yeah, it's good. It's fun. I actually really enjoy it. And I will say this: there is nothing like winning a fight that you have just been trying for an hour, and when you win it because you did you learned something, or you did something right, or you used a new strategy that worked. It is the best feeling
Dark
in the
Souls
world.
effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I got that multiple times today on this difficulty. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is I'm now addicted to this drug. And I don't like it, but I'm going to keep playing it because I'm now addicted. So
do you think it's the case? 2 things. One, do you think the game will get easier as you finally get access to, you just said you got a tank. Do you think that once you kind of have an actual fleshed out party with, the proper tools, a tank, a healer, dispeller, a CC'er, etc., that difficulty will kind of even out, kind of like most games of this ilk where it starts really fucking high and then kind of gets easier as you progress forward? Or is that, do you have no idea?
Exact hope.
Okay.
The issue, though, is that I don't know, first of all. And the other issue is that even though this game was in early access for a while and people could play it, there were a lot of things that were locked behind doors. So it's not like I can ask anyone if that's the case. And some of the difficulty adjustments, they actually changed on release. So I'm kind of in relatively unexplored territory, but I have been warned by multiple people that did get far in early access on harder difficulties that some of the last fights in the game are the hardest.
Okay. And then second question is, how much of the difficulty do you think is you learning the Pathfinder system?
To be fair, this is one of the deeper RPGs I've ever played. And just in between me making my character yesterday and today, I did an hour of research off stream last night.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Just trying to learn how this thing works. And there is no question that when I played today, I had a better understanding of how things work. I had a better understanding about how Pathfinder treats, order of operation, attacks of opportunity, when to do this, when not to do that. And that really helped today. So to be fair, I am a relative nub when it comes to the Pathfinder IP, and it is something that there's a lot to learn. Especially to somebody who doesn't play. I don't play tabletops,
right?
So this is all kind of relatively unexplored territory.
Yeah, Adam was playing yesterday. Zeke, what was that face?
Don't say you don't play tabletops. I've played with you before. In fact, I was your brother.
That's true.
You don't remember me? Your brother?
You were.
I'm in a bag.
Yeah, you're in a bag.
You carry around with you.
You made that easy, not the game. That's a little different, but I see where you're coming from.
That is true. That's the thing that happened.
This day, the best fun I had doing that stuff.
Adam Coble, who's actually, I think, running a Pathfinder game, I think I don't know whose channel it is, but he knows the system. He was talking about it yesterday because he's been playing it a lot. And he was talking about how the difficulty, I think you kind of mentioned this, but you might have glossed over a little bit in the sense that he called it, he said it was very granular because you could go in and there's the modes that you said, easy, normal, difficult, whatever. But in those difficulty settings themselves, you could go and tick down the fact that like, yeah, I want monsters to have like 100% HP instead of 300% and that type of stuff. So
if you scroll back in today's stream towards the very first part of character creation, you can actually see those options.
Okay.
And he's absolutely right. Like it breaks down pretty much every value that even before that, I think. It breaks down pretty much every facet of the difficulty. Like how much extra damage do crits do? How much more AC do enemies have? You know, are they significantly more powerful or are they only a little more powerful? Like everything is adjustable in the difficulty, which is really, really cool. And then in the bottom part of the screen where all those sliders are, the top has the presets. And the presets are normal, challenging, hard, unfair. Okay. That's where that stuff. And then when you click one of those, it changes all those values to the predetermined.
It's taking a long time for you to load.
it has kind of a weird initial long load time, but then the rest of the load times are pretty good. For the record, this is the first started up on GOG, and the first startup takes a little bit.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, Chad was saying he's Adam's playing on normal, and he kind of steamrolled through most of the fights. So
I've heard if you know what you're doing, like, and I'm sure Adam does. Adam is probably one of the authorities on this game. Yeah, there it is. You can see it right down there.
Holy shit.
But if you know what you're doing, like Adam does, then normal is considered like medium. Like if you know what you're doing, they recommended, I think they said start on challenging if you really know what you're doing. I do know, however, some people that have no clue what they're doing and normal is giving them a relatively hard time. So, you know, there's that. However, I also know some people that kind of know what they're doing and they're saying challenging is ridiculous. So it's really like apparently a huge part of it is your starting character. Because the way the game, slight spoilers here. Actually, not really.
I mean, it's the first 10 minutes of the game. It's fine. People get over it.
The way the game works, you don't necessarily get a tank in your first party. There are things you can do in the game, which I did for the record, that prevent you from getting like the tank character from the tutorial into your party. And if you do that, like in my case, then the already extremely hard game becomes exponentially more difficult.
Sure.
So, like for instance, I have like my tank is a cleric that can barely do any defense.
Sorry, it looked like I just barely glanced. Was that knight like? Do you get to play as Matt Mercer?
Was there a similar Matt? Yeah, that was a Kickstarter goal actually. Yeah.
Caught it out of the corner of my eye. That was like, wait a minute, is that Knight Matt? And then you changed it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That my bad.
Yeah, 100% Mercer.
But yeah, I don't know for sure. There's by the way, real quick to address this because I saw this question in chat. This game is voice acted about 10 to 15%. From what I understand, it's a gigantic game, and like the whole beginning part is voice acted. But it's one of those things where after you get out of the main story, like even your side companions aren't voice acted. What I've seen, so. But however, a few main characters are always voiced when you see them, so that's good.
Compare it to Pillars of Eternity 2, more or less voice acting than what we played on release. For that, what do you think? Or do you not know?
Which one?
You have, for Pillars of Eternity 2.
Oh, for difficulty?
No, for voice acting. Do you think it's same amount?
No. PoE 2 was near like it had a lot of voice acting. Way more than this.
Oh god, okay.
PoE 2 had almost everything voice acted.
I'm out.
So even though it wasn't great all the time, it most of the time was just fine. Now they didn't voice act the narrator and stuff, and they do some of that in this one. Oh, he said doo-doo. But it's yeah, relatively sorry, I was just being Twitch chat there for a second. But it's a lot. This is in terms of voice acting in RPGs, seems to be one of the scarcer ones. But the voice acting is pretty good when it's there. Full disclosure, like when they do voice act, it is pretty good voice acting.
And that's not something that they've said that they want to go back and address or anything like that. Because I know games have done that. CRPGs have done that. Okay.
The dev that made this game, their name is Owlcat. I'll be honest, I had not heard of them before this game. I don't know. I don't know if I call them indie, but they kind of came out of nowhere. And also, no offense to them or anything, but the person that runs their Twitter also is not like. You can tell when a game dev has somebody running their Twitter that gets Twitter, and when somebody's running their Twitter that's just like doing it as a side thing.
I see.
So that's been kind of unfortunate.
They've made games since '98, but not big games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made Rage of the Mages 2, Evil Islands, Ether Lords, Silent Storm, Heroes of Might and Magic 5, Owlets Online, and then Skyforge most recently.
Skyforge, the MMO?
Yeah, why do I know that name? Was that an MMO?
Oh my god. They can't. They must not. Are they not NA? No, they're Russian. Oh, I didn't know that. Wait, it says they're formed 2016.
Wait, what? Here's a few of the games we worked on. Oh. I didn't read the caveat. Here's a few of the games we worked on being part of the Nival Interactive and My.com companies.
Okay. My.com is huge. Yeah, they're a Walmart kind of deal. So
okay.
That makes sense.
There you go. Anyways.
Cool. I mean, that's good to talk about because I didn't know most of what we just said, so that's good stuff to know.
Yeah. So like how does the actual combat, let me find an actual thing here. Are you like creating, let's go. All right, so right here. Click on a character, your bar comes up. Are you dragging stuff to that bar? Is it autofilling? Like what compared to other CRPGs in this way? Like what?
The thing about this game and the word that I keep coming back to when I talk about is classic. Like this game, I mean, it pretty much exactly like the thing I didn't know about this game when I started playing it was the mechanical under the hood parts of like when attacks of opportunity work and things like that. But in terms of controlling the game and the interface, it is Baldur's Gate. Like you have controls on a control bar, you have little panels you can pop up with sub abilities, you've got your main characters you click on to focus them. It's pause-based combat. So it's not turn-based, but you can pause it and issue orders.
Sure.
You can also slow it down a little bit if you want to. But it's traditional classic CRPG combat.
Okay.
But again, I have to mention it's in like the Pathfinder umbrella. Yeah. So like the only way it works a little bit differently is like, the turns are broken down into phases. Things like move actions are the same as attack actions. So there's like all these little gotchas and these little things that you need to kind of learn that are unique to this universe. But once you kind of learn the basics and stuff, and there's a pretty good in-game like encyclopedia/help area, it becomes relatively intuitive.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of the things, I have very limited knowledge about Pathfinder because I've never played the rule set or anything. But from my understanding is that it's a very, I don't want to say convoluted because that has a negative connotation to it, but it's very complicated system when it comes to the actual combat stuff. So I could see that working well / having its issues in a game if you're not used to that system, for sure.
This fight right here, I spent more than 5 hours on between my two characters. 4. No, 5.
Just so what was the difficulty part of it? They would just like one shot you. There was just so many of them, all of the above. Like
this particular fight is kind of interesting because it's a ambush where you set up a bunch of traps. There's tar on the ground. There's an explosion that goes off at the beginning, and the beginning of the fight is very RNG because weather effects and when the enemy comes in and how they come in determines how those initial traps work. And then the important thing to remember is there's 3 archers in the back. There's a named enemy, and then there's a bunch of melee enemies. Throughout the entire fight, any one of those archers can crit any of your characters for their full life during any combat. On top of that, any of the sub enemies, the melee enemies, they're running around the whole fight, and they can also pretty much kill you extremely easily, and you mostly miss against them. And then the named guy, his normal hits can one-shot.
Are you using the boxes as cover here? Is that what's happening?
Oh, I'm trying. Dude, you don't understand. Like, I had to try everything. I'm a summoner now. So, like, I was summoning my wolf, and I'm like, go forth, wolf! And, like, watch this. I'd summon the wolf, and the wolf would be like, here I go, Dad! I got this! And then the enemy would be like, lol!
Nice.
I will summon a terrifying wolf. It's fangs with it's the first come on. It's dead already.
Dude, the worst is when you summon a wolf and it's in a perfect position and it starts to run in, and then some dude you didn't even see like one shots my guy, so the wolf just evaporates as he's running towards the enemy. Nice. It's just like, son of a
bitch. Jeez.
Again, it's hard, it's stressful, but it's winnable. Like, yeah, you may need the right RNG and you might need the right strategy, but man, when it all connects, it is a good feeling. And it's like, I have to admit, even though it's so difficult, it's a lot of fun. And every fight you learn just one little thing, or you make a little bit more progress, or maybe I'll do this differently. And by doing that, you learn a new mechanic, and it all adds up. It's hard, but it's fun.
So combat aside,
Mm.
graphics aside, because they look fine. It seems like it runs well, all that stuff. If people are looking for like a deep story that's super interesting, is this a game for them? Is this something you can
Absolutely.
recommend? Okay.
There's a huge amount of lore in this game. And what's even crazier is I now have 8 hours in this game. First of all, I haven't technically completed the starting area.
Jeez.
And second of all, when you complete the starting area is when the game begins. Because right now, what you're basically doing is there is this, again, not too spoilery, this is kind of obvious, but there is a reason that you cannot control your kingdom at the beginning. And a huge part of this game is running and controlling your own kingdom and building it and like going out and getting resources for it. Like it's basically like a souped up Neverwinter Nights 2 for those that played that. That was one of my favorite RPGs back in the day. And I haven't even gotten to that part of the game yet. So, and apparently that's one of the coolest parts of the game. So that's going to be pretty exciting. But I'm currently like working on that challenge that I mentioned right now. And again, I don't want to spoil too much for people that are going to try it. So
So I'm waiting to see this map because I saw it in the thumbnail, but the loading. Okay, here. So this is just how you go from like tile to tile, basically.
Yeah, the way that it works is you basically pick directions, and the characters keep going until they get to a stopping point, which are those little circles you see on the map. And every time you move, you either stop at a stopping point like that you haven't gotten before, or you may find an encounter. And then as you're moving, it's got like FTL style random encounters that can happen. And I've gotten already 10 plus. It seems like I get a new one pretty much every time I do it. So there's apparently a ton of those. And then each of the locations is explorable generally as well. Now that location I just went to, if you noticed, I went over it and it said, you have unlocked for your kingdom like high ground advantage. I have no idea what that means. But apparently when I actually get the kingdom, I think you can actually go out and find like mines and resource nodes and towers, and that improves something about your kingdom.
Dang.
I have no idea. But I also know that you can even go as far as developing regions of the map in different ways. So you can like make it so like some areas are focused on like production, and maybe you have like a religious section, and it looks crazy. Like I can't wait to get to that point of the game. It's going to be interesting because as the weeks go by this month, I should have hopefully more and more to talk about this game.
Yeah.
As I kind of make it through it.
It definitely seems like a onion layer type game. What's the loot like? Are you getting like +1 swords? Are you getting like magical? Like where are you at with the, or where's the game at
right now? I'm getting basically like +1 enchants. I'm getting masterwork weapons. Masterwork's a big deal in this game. Getting scrolls, summon scrolls, magic items. A lot of sell loot. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can sell. A lot of stuff you can buy. Potions, bombs, poison vials, like everything you'd expect.
Cool. Last thoughts?
How many hours are you in again?
Oh. What was that, Zeke? Sorry,
how many hours are you in again?
I am in this playthrough, which is my new main playthrough. I am about 4 hours in, and I just got my 5th character, which is my final real tank. So I'm hoping that speeds things up a bit. Okay. But yeah, my last playthrough was 4 hours, and I re-rolled, and this one is 4 hours. The game itself can be over 100 from what I understand. So
you said your last playthrough. You mean your last time starting?
Yeah, yesterday. I rolled a sorcery yesterday, and I got to the end, and I spent 2 hours on that bandit fight, and then I spent another hour doing it offline, and I finally beat it. In fact, I like recorded it and played it at the beginning of the stream today. I was so happy. And that's when I realized I wasn't having fun with that character. The short answer was I picked a sorcerer specifically to become this prestige class called a Dragon Disciple.
Ooh.
And I thought like, hey, I'll just level up sorcerer until I can become a Dragon Disciple. And then I was doing research last night, and I realized that specific class is not only extremely complex in this game, but requires a whole lot of multi-classing, and people have a lot of discussion on what multi-classing that is good for it. And then I actually looked at the abilities of the Dragon Disciple, and I was like, that's not really what I want to play, which I probably should have done at the beginning, right? And that's when I went back and kind of really looked through all the classes. And by the way, if you're an RPG fan, your character creation is going to be like budget an hour to 2. The character creation in this game is one of the most in-depth and thorough I've ever seen, like ever. It's really impressive.
Yeah,
but
Adam was saying that
I went through all the classes and decided that I wanted somebody to get summoned. I wanted someone that had a little bit of survivability. I wanted somebody that had some utility, maybe some healing or something. And I finalized on Inquisitor as my base class, and then my subclass is Monster Tactician, which lets me not only have some summons, but over time the summons get something like some bonuses and get more powerful and things like that. So I'm basically like a kind of like a hybrid melee caster class, right? That has a summon.
Are you working towards like a prestige?
Not right now. I'm not working towards any specific prestige. If something comes along that kind of fits, I may look into it. But to be honest, I'm kind of fine maining this because it has some pretty good like inline just single class abilities down the road. So I might multi-class. I haven't decided if I want to multi-class yet either. That's another thing that I'm thinking about. I'm honestly kind of hoping that one of you gurus out there comes out with like a real good character creator in this game that like lets you level up and like a little application and do all that stuff. Kind of surprised there isn't one already because a lot of games have them. But you could lose days to something like that. Like just specking out and seeing what you could get and what your character's end game bonuses would be, and yeah.
What were we gonna say?
There's always a huge thing for me when I'm playing games that take forever, or not forever, take a really long time, multiple hours. Someone said there's a weight system in your inventory. How bad is it?
It's not been great. The way that it works is you have the bar on the bottom left there, and that is the complete weight of all the characters in your party. And that's kind of
you
like
can turn it off.
Over. Oh, people can say you can. Oh yeah, okay. Apparently you can turn it off. I didn't even know that.
All right, great. Game saved.
There you go.
Yep, good, excellent, cool.
I don't have it turned off, and it's not terrible.
Yeah,
it's not good, but it's not terrible.
Okay. Well, I'm curious to see how long it takes for you to turn it off. Yeah. We'll see if you turn it off.
No, someone said realism, EU bad response. Like there's realism, but there's also quality of life when you're playing a game. Like weight system in a tabletop game is completely fucking different than a weight system in a video game. There is a certain amount of that you're much more willing to deal with it when you're doing tabletop than you are with a video game.
Hey, are you pressing a button to breathe? You aren't? Well, that sounds kind of dumb, unrealistic.
Yeah.
What is he just
are you eating and drinking on a regular basis in this game, Co?
Yeah. Do you need rations? Do you have to have rations to?
Well, you actually do, but that all ties into the resting. So you don't need to eat or drink, but your characters get fatigued and then you rest, and then food plays into that. And that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Maybe it's just the fact that I don't know. Maybe it's just the VOD parts that I've selected to show. Is there a lot of loading in this game? It seems like I've been looking at a lot of loading screens the past, 5 minutes of footage that we've shown.
Well, JP, you have to go through a loading process when you die. So,
is that what it is, that you're just dying a lot, you think?
Probably. No, well, that being said, there actually is a lot of loading in this game because generally if you're exploring around the world map, that's a load to the map. That's a load to and from resting if you rest. Okay. It's a load into any area you go to, and then when you leave the area, it's another load. So there is a lot of loading in the game. I did throw it on an SSD though, and I have not had any loads where I haven't had any complaints about loading.
Okay.
It's been fine. And I get so focus mode during this game because there's so much going on that I frequently am kind of glad when the loading screens take a little bit longer so I can actually catch up with subs and read chat and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think at this point, it sounds like it's a game where we'll check in next week with Co to see where he's at with Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be to the kingdom building part by then.
Yeah.
I've heard that's 2 hours of the game.
I'm real curious to see what the fuck that actually is, without a doubt. Well, cool. We're due for a break, and then me and Zeke. What's up?
How much is it?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. How much is the game?
I think it's $40 for the base version, and then there's a couple of the versions you can pick up. Let me verify that super quick.
Thanks for asking that, Zeke. I totally
it's $40 for the base version. You can get it on Steam or GOG. I believe they're the same price on both. And then there's a Noble, Royal, and Imperial edition for $55, $70, and $85 if you want to get some extra in-game items and stuff. You don't need them.
$40 seems fine. How much was Pillars 2? Was that 30 or is that 60?
I don't know because I actually was a backer. So I got my copy for free. Pillars 2 right now is $32.99.
Okay.
So, and if you're thinking of playing Pillars, now's the best time because they finally got it updated and stuff. So,
that's the thing with these kind of games is they could charge I mean, within reason, basically whatever they want, because the value that you get out of it hours wise is comparable or better to any game out there.
Yeah, they're very
like,
long.
Yep. You could charge $100 and it would still be like $1 an hour.
Yep. Yep. I think it was
you gonna play it all the way through?
We mentioned Pillars. There's DLC out for Pillars this week as well. I think it comes out later this week.
Yes, the second of 3.
Yeah.
I'm unfortunately missing this one too. But next one I hope to have my second playthrough done.
Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Anyways, we're due for a break. We're going to take that break. We'll come back. Me and Zeke will geek out about Dragon Quest 11. We'll do Indie Sunday, and then whatever the fuck else we've been playing. My life has pretty much been Dragon Quest the past week, so it'll be short and sweet for me, but I'm sure the other guys have been playing some other games. So we will be right back, taking a quick break, and we'll head into part number 2 here at Drop Frames. We'll see you guys then in just a bit.